Hi everybody, this is Lars from CamStuff.com. In this little video we're going to look at how you can add your custom strategies to the CAMWorks technology database. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I got this part here that I want to concentrate on this hole here. Now this hole is a little bit under 2 inches if you go up and look at my CAMWorks options, you will see that my hole recognition is set to 1/2 inch. That could be because that I don't want CAMWorks to find or insert operations for holes that is bigger than 1/2 inch if I hit the extract machinable features up here, because maybe I don't have drills that is bigger than that, or normally in my turret or just in general on my machine in a day-to-day basis. That kind of stuff I don't want to handle like that. Now if I change this to 2 inches for example, and if I just go in here and run, just turn it in so that I'm looking for holes, and I run the extract machinable features, you will see that the CAMWorks would go into the technology database and find this hole and insert a drill and a milling operation in there. So if we go in here, we can look at this hole 13 will be that hole, generate operation plan. You will see in here it says a 1-inch drill, and it puts in an end mill to do a circle mill itself to it. Now if I want to create a custom strategy, let me show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm just going to go out and delete these operations out of here, and delete this one out of here too, into the cycle bin. Alright, so I got a mill part set up here. Now what I can do is, if I go in here and right click here and say insert a 2.5 axis feature, and up here in the selection box I'm going to set it to a hole. I'm going to select this upper edge here like this and go to next. Now in here right now, if I leave it at a drilling operation, that's when it will go in and insert that drill and that circle mill. But what I actually want to do is I want to create my own special strategy that I can select out of here for particular holes. Could be different holes, pockets, and stuff like that. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cancel out of this. I'm going to go into the technology database in here. I'm going to click on that. Technology database opens up, and we just got to make sure we are in the right units. And I'm going to go over to the mill tab, feature operations, and in here I'm going to go into user defined strategies. Now when I come in here, I can actually click here and I can create that strategy. So now I can go in here and call something whatever would make sense for the purpose. So I'm just going to call it this and hit close. Now if I went in back into CAMWorks in here, and I went in and I said I want to insert that feature again and select that edge, you will now see that it will appear in that drop down. Now I haven't assigned any tools or operations to it yet, but just to show you that's where we want to end up. So we're jumping back into the database up here, mill, feature operation, and where I went in before was user defined strategies. So we see it sitting right in there. Okay, now I'm going to go to the feature operation up here on top. Now this is where it's collecting all the data out of the database here. You will see up here that it is already selected on a hole, and that works for me here. Now and in here we will see all the different strategies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and down here in the bottom you will see that I'm ready to replace a new one. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. Now I'm not going to make this a through one. I'm just going to say I want to make it a blind one. But when I come out to the strategy, now I can actually select that cam stuff special operation. Okay, and I can also set up my stock, and I can also set up in what parameter this one's going to happen in. Now because this is a special operation that I'm going to be working on, maybe I will just leave this as a default, but you could definitely tweak for within these parameters going to fall within. Next thing, we're going to go down here to the operation for this condition, and I'm going to hit a little flag here, and I am going to choose a drilling operation first. I'm going to drill with a drill, and just to get the hole going, right? So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select a tool selection. Now in here, in the first time, you're going to select a type. So I'm going to say I want to do a drill. Now the first one up here is well, it's defaults to a constant. So that means that a constant, you could set a diameter of your drill here, and now it will look for that drill, but depending on what kind of material and other things, it could be using different tools. You could also use expressions up here for your selection of for your drill, but I'm just going to go down and say I want to select it right out of my tool library. So I'm going to go down and select tool, and it fills it up with all kinds of drills. So I'm just going to quick it down here by search for a drill down here in this column down here, find next, and you can see here it's showing me they got a couple of different types. So I'm just going to select a Java drill here. Now I'm not going to spot drill. This is probably 118 drills, so this should probably spot drill, but we're not going to do that for the sake here. So select the tool, and then over here in the depth criteria, you kind of like get the same thing up here. You can add your tip length. I like to use with expressions here, and in here you could actually you could do some stuff like you could say that you wanted it to be above the finished depth by a certain amount, so your end mill could clean up if it was a bottom pocket and stuff like that. I'm just going to leave it at default feature depth here. Next thing I want to do after there's drills is I want to insert a rough operation. So I'm only drilling with a 5/8 drill, meaning this one was 2 inches, so there's going to be a lot of material to remove. So I'm going to use a rough mill operation, and to go into the tool selection, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the tool, and in here I'm going to filter that out too, and I'm just going to select my favorite 1/2 inch end mill. I get a different ones I can select. I'm just going to select one just for the heck of it. So we get the tool selected. And the same thing with the depth criteria. I'm going to use the use expression in there too. And then maybe we want to finishing up with a circle contour mill operation that can clean the walls up. So I'm going to go in here, and for the tool I'm going to select the same tool. I guess it could be a different tool, right? Select that, close that down, and do that for the depth too. So you can see here how you could add more and more stuff depending on how crazy you want to go with all the stuff. Now if I go over here and I select it on one of these over here, it will bring me in where I can tweak things for these different operations. But I'm not going to do that in here right now. I'm just going to say close to this, and now I've actually created that custom strategy. So now if I go over here and right click and say insert 2.5 axis feature, I got my hole selected, I select the edge, and I go next, and for the depth here I'm just going to go all the way through, so I'm just going to select the bottom face, and then I'm going to go down here and select our magic special hole here and hit finish. Okay, close that down, and you will see that now it will actually show up, so we can see that that is that specific hole. And when we generate this, we will see we now get our drill, we get our roughing operation and our contour operation. So now we can right click and process that, and now we can actually see these operations going through here. So if we just take a quick look and simulate this, I'm going to say it's the next tool, turn it down a little bit. First our drilled hole, and then our end mill comes down here. Now if we look at this one here, it's going to zigzag down. That's just because it came default out of the database, and this is definitely not how I would do this. Now we could have tweaked that in those settings that I showed you in the technology database, but just like in my previous videos, we could also just quickly go in here and change it inside of this operation page. So I'm going to go to the roughing one, and I'm on the roughing here. I'm just going to say spiral out might work good. So let's just go ahead and click on that here, and let's just see how that looks. So I'm going to do next operation, turn it down a little bit. We're going to drill, and then you will see that now end mill is going to come down and it's going to make a spiral out. Though notice where it enters the part. It's not entering right in the center of that hole. That's not what I really want, right? I wanted to, that's why I drilled the hole, so I had some material. So let me just go back into it again, and if we go over here to the operation over here, we can say select the center of the hole, and that should now take care of that. So we can tweak these things, and then we can do like I did in my last video when it comes to how to get your knowledge back into the technology databases. We can now get this information back to that database we just created, and the way we do that is that when we got everything tweaked, we just go back to our special hole here under the feature tree. We right click and say save operation plan. Now in a previous video I was using to create a new feature condition, but in this case here, I'm just going to say I want to override it. So when I do that, now from now on those new effects will be taken in. So if we delete this one out of here now, remove it, and insert it again, you will see that now it is going to go ahead and use the whole when we go in here and use these custom strategies here. We also got to set the depth Go through there. So quickly, you can see here how you can bring this kind of knowledge back into the technology database, and you can create your own case of scenarios. You know, you want special reamers and different stuff, and this way here you can insert your own strategies. We're gonna have some more videos showing some different things of how you can do these different strategies, but this video here show you how you can insert a strategy. You can set your own ways you want to do stuff and save it back into the database. So I hope that you find this video helpful, and if you have any comments or remarks, you're more than welcome to email me at lars@techdb.com, or of course you can leave comments on this blog post. Thank you. Have a great day.